On May 19, 1962, Marilyn Monroe performed Happy Birthday, Mr. President for JFK at Madison Square Garden. Wearing a skin-tight, rhinestone-covered dress, she delivered a breathy, intimate rendition that became iconic. Behind the glamour, Monroe was battling severe anxiety and insomnia, relying on prescription drugs to cope. This performance marked the peak of her fame, but also highlighted the immense pressure she faced as Hollywood's brightest star. In 1962, Monroe began filming Something's Got to Give, but production was plagued by her absences due to illness and personal struggles. The studio, frustrated by delays, fired her despite her star power. This decision reflected Hollywood's harsh treatment of actors and Monroe's declining mental health. The unfinished film became a tragic symbol of her career's unraveling, with only 37 minutes of footage surviving. Behind closed doors, studio executives and powerful figures discussed Monroe's difficult behavior and financial liabilities. Declassified documents suggest some viewed her as expendable. Meetings like these shaped her career and personal life, with decisions made without her input. This systemic manipulation contributed to her sense of betrayal and paranoia, fueling her reliance on medications and deepening her isolation. In her final months, Monroe became convinced her phone was tapped and she was being followed. Friends reported her frantic calls about them listening in. This paranoia wasn't unfounded. FBI files later confirmed her links to JFK and RFK were under scrutiny. The pressure of these connections, combined with her fragile mental state, created a perfect storm of fear and instability. Monroe's relationships with JFK and RFK were more than tabloid fodder. They placed her in the crosshairs of political intrigue. Accounts of yacht parties and secret meetings suggest she knew sensitive information. Some theorists believe these connections led to her death, as she reportedly threatened to expose secrets. Her diary, later seized by authorities, contained cryptic references to dangerous games. Monroe's reliance on doctors like Dr. Greenson and Dr. Engelberg for sleeping pills and sedatives was well documented. In her final months, she received increasingly potent prescriptions, including Nembutal and chloral hydrate. This pill cocktail was likely a factor in her death. Critics argue her doctors enabled her addiction rather than treating its root causes, depression and trauma. On August 4, 1962, Monroe spent her last evening at home in Brentwood. Phone records show calls to friends and lawyers, but key details remain disputed. Her housekeeper found her body the next morning with empty pill bottles nearby. The official cause was suicide, but inconsistencies, like the lack of water to swallow so many pills, fueled conspiracy theories that endure today. Within hours of Monroe's death, reports emerged of missing diary pages and cleaned-up scenes. Her red diary, which allegedly contained political secrets, vanished. Coroner's photos showed suspicious details, like her body being repositioned. These irregularities led many to suspect a cover-up orchestrated to protect powerful figures linked to her, including the Kennedys and organized crime. Monroe's death dominated global headlines, but the media focused on salacious details rather than investigating inconsistencies. Outlets like the LA Times initially reported it as a probable suicide, ignoring oddities like the lack of pill residue in her stomach. This rush to judgment mirrored Hollywood's tendency to exploit her image, even in death. 6 decades later, Monroe's death remains shrouded in mystery. Declassified FBI files, witness retractions, and forensic re-examinations suggest foul play. Theories range from CIA involvement to mafia hits. What's undeniable is her enduring cultural impact, a symbol of beauty, tragedy, and the dark side of fame. Her story continues to spark debates about power, exploitation, and justice.